Welcome to Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We are live on Twitch. We are live on YouTube, and we'd love for you to join us. Just search at Tom and Dan Live if you like watching podcasts.
We also have our BDM private party coming up this Saturday. If you're a BDM, then
you know.
Yeah, you got an invite. If you are a BDM, you didn't get the invite, let us know. We'll let you know the information, but it's kind of an Oktoberfest theme party at one of our partners, and it's this Saturday, and we got some games.
So in case you're wondering, we'll be at the old vape shop. There you go.
Also, we've got Battle Business Beer Fest and Sofa and Suds coming up November 23rd and 24th.
You might have a brewery. You might work at a brewery, and you might say to yourself, hey, I want to be a part of Battle Business Beer Fest. Our buddy Jordan from Cholo Dogs, he's like, hey, I want to be a part of the Battle Business Beer Fest. You can be a part of it.
Yeah, email us.
Shoot me an email, show@tomanddan.com. We'll make it happen.
It's one of the few beer fests that nobody makes money on.
Nobody makes money on it. There are no rules. It's just
our sponsors pay for the infrastructure of it all, and Mo DeWitt's our presenting sponsor, and he helps us pay for all the stage and the band and the sample cups and the wristbands.
He's a good man.
Our other sponsor, Fairvilla Megastore and White Claw, help us pay for everything else, and then is literally just so everybody can come out and have a good time for free.
It's really just for you to have a good time.
And you get a sample cups, food trucks, live music out at Sanford.
Maybe an ego stroke for us. We look at it, we're like,
we're not doing this purely. We think, and this is
we think it helps keep the boat afloat.
We think it's this got to be good for our own publicity, right? It would help the listeners. We give back to listeners.
It's pretty easy.
Maybe some new people.
We're just giving fat people free beer. It's so easy.
There is zero evidence to confirm that it's helped us at all.
No. That drives Tom crazy.
Yeah.
If you know him, that you know that if he can't quantify it, he don't want to try it.
I'm just guessing.
That was good.
I'm guessing at this point, after more than a decade of being in business, that it's helped us.
Yeah.
But it's only a guess.
Yeah.
Maybe we'd be more rich if we had charged $50 a ticket.
I mean, the guest we're going to have on today is an extremely intelligent person, and some could say, she could consult, and this person might look at this event, consult it, and be like, guys, this is what the problem is. This is what's ruining the business.
You need to charge $50 a ticket. If you make $50,000, and then at the end of the day, you walk away with 20 in your pocket.
But for right now, it's a free beer fest that you can be a part of. Show@tomanddan.com if you want to do it. If you happen to have a brewery or work at one, reach out. Are you ready, buddy?
Yeah.
Here we go. Tom wanted to do a bit. He called it Weird Job Wednesday. Dan really likes it. Tom says that's bullshit. It's another Weird Job Wednesday. What are you doing? What is your job? Are you neat? Are you tidy? Or are you a fat slob? Do you make lots of money and you sit up in your tower looking down on all the people who are working by the hour? It's a Weird Job Wednesday. Just another Weird Job Wednesday. Oh yes, it's Weird Job Wednesday. Just another Weird Job Wednesday. Thank you, Tom. Thank you.
Weird Job Wednesday brought to you by Jeff's Bagel Run.
Hey!
Lots of locations in Central Florida. A free app. Always boiled. Never toasted.
Doesn't need it.
Delicious. Jeff's Bagel Run.
Yeah. Many locations for you and your family to enjoy.
Sylvia's on the line. How you doing, Sylvia?
I'm great. Thank you so much.
So, Sylvia, what is your weird job?
I am an accessible travel writer, which means that I get paid to travel around the world in my wheelchair and write about the accessibility or lack thereof of places that I go and basically record it all in a photo and video.
So
that's pretty amazing.
This is
and we've talked to Sylvia before about what she does, because we're going to get into some of the newer jobs that she's kind of she is clay, and she just keeps putting more and more jobs on the to build up this amazing thing. So hey, thanks for being on the show. We appreciate you taking the time. So where are you? Are you traveling right now, or are you home?
I am home. I was actually out at NASA at Kennedy Space Center yesterday and the day before. I was on their social team to basically document the Europa Clipper launch, and I was the only wheelchair user out there. So I got to be able to bring in my audience of people with disabilities into enjoying the space program, and literally be right up front and
That's
up close
awesome.
to the SpaceX Falcon Heavy rocket launch yesterday.
Oh, that's killer. We were just watching that.
So, Sylvia, my first question is, like, because on paper, this is the dream job, right? You get paid to go on these adventures, these vacations, destination trips.
Places people want to go.
Your room and board's taken care of. Like sometimes other things are taken care of. They want you to write about certain things, so they'll give you that experience. They'll give you the tickets to the show because that show wants promotion because they know you're going to write about it.
Sounds hard though.
And then but what tells me this is hard to get into is because it's seemingly a dream job.
Right.
Everybody would want to do it, but I'm guessing it's hard as hell to build this to be your job because it requires making a ton of different relationships, correct?
Yes, I mean it took me 8 years to get here. I
Okay.
started my travel blog like 8 years ago. After I got divorced, I moved here to Florida, and I started getting back into travel to heal. But you're doing a lot of writing and a lot of traveling out of pocket. I mean, it's a tax write-off, but still, it's not cheap. So it takes a while to build up that social media audience, to get the followers, and not only that, but to get the interest of destinations, because they want to know that you're going to reach the audience that they are targeting. So yeah, it's a lot of investment, and even though the work itself sounds glamorous, but it is like 16 to 18 hour days nonstop, no sleep for like 5 days in a row. So it's really exciting, but it's a lot of work.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, and also it's
Because on top of it, I mean, she just basically started a job. Here, I'm just going to create a job out of nothing.
Yeah,
which is the hardest job to make.
And when you create a job from nothing, it requires you putting a lot into it for free
And love.
with no guarantee that it pays off.
Correct.
Like you're putting a lot of effort,
self-gamble.
and money. Yes, people need to realize when you build a dream job, it's going to take a lot of your own money, blood, sweat, tears at the beginning to even have a chance. And sometimes it's just a chance. It doesn't mean that you're definitely going to get where Sylvia is one day and like now be going to all these destinations.
True. I mean, like to become a commodity, you have to work really hard at it. So what would you say are some of, if not the biggest, in the beginning, were some of the harder hurdles that you had to get over in order to get this thing sort of going?
Well, you have to differentiate yourself. I mean, the travel sphere is huge. You can't swing a dead cat without hitting a travel influencer, right? So the first thing was obviously establishing my niche, which is wheelchair travel, disability travel, however you want to call it. And there are very few of us in this sphere, so that makes it kind of easy as far as, establishing your niche. But then you have to establish your value to the market that you're targeting. So how am I of value to Celebrity Cruise Lines or to the state of Michigan or any other destination? Why would they want to hire me to come in? How am I going to give them the best return on investment? So I have to market myself as saying, hey, it's worth your limited travel budget to bring me and write about and do photo and video about your destination. So it's a lot of factors that go into it, and you have to remember business sense. It's not just, oh, I want to fly to Paris and do all this glamorous stuff. Like, well, how am I of value to the Paris Convention and Visitors Bureau?
Wow.
So, Sylvia, I'm curious to how you choose your destinations. I'm guessing now you're getting contacted by people that want you to, experience their destinations.
And not
you can write about it.
Not everything may be a good fit. Do you have to sort of pick and choose now? Are there things that you won't do, or that or have there been any instances of that you could tell us about?
Sure. It's actually a combination of both. I'm very fortunate that I'm now in a spot in my career where destinations reach out to me And usually they won't reach out to me unless they know that they have at least a fair amount of wheelchair accessibility. So I've gotten contacted by places that never in a million years would I go out of my way to visit because it just doesn't seem like an exciting place. But then I go, and of course, look, I'm getting the VIP treatment, right? They want to show off their destination. So they send me to the best, most accessible sites and attractions, the best restaurants. So it's pretty cool in that regard. But there have been some instances where, for instance, that they don't have accessible transportation, or if I were going there on my own, I wouldn't be able to get around very easily. I need to have public transport that's accessible, or accessible taxis or things like that. So that's often one of the biggest challenges. But if they don't reach out to me and there's some place I want to go, I just do the research. I go, hey, this sounds like a cool place, or I've always wanted to go there. And then I'll reach out to the tourism board and give them my pitch and send them my media kit and my proposal, and let's see if we can work together, and this is the value that I bring. So it's a combination of both.
That's dope.
Sylvia, let me ask you a question that I'm sure you've dealt with before, but it's something that me and Daniel are very familiar with, being in media, okay? Because you're in media as well. You have an audience, and because of that, this situation happens.
Now she's acting and doing voice acting, but we haven't gotten to that yet.
I am.
So
I am.
So let's just say there's a local client that wants to bring me and Daniel out to their place, and so therefore they can give us money to talk about how good it is, right?
Right.
And so we show up and it's bad.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's literally,
like,
it's disgustingly bad.
Yeah. But now I feel the pressure.
But we already spent the money.
Because that money's already spent, Sylvia, because we have certain habits in life that are very expensive. And if we go without them, I mean, I'm going to doo-doo my pants.
Yeah.
Because,
we're radio guys, too. We've got ex-wives breathing down our neck.
Yeah. A bunch of ex-wives. So we want the money, but then we were like, oh, my God, this place is a dump. And how the hell?
Not even that it's a dump. It's literally unsafe to our listeners. And we're going to be promoting. We're going to be promoting to send these people to a place like. So I mean, obviously that's an exaggerated example of something you would deal with.
So then we have to just tell ourselves like, all right, let's just get the money and lie to the listeners.
Yeah.
But everybody does it, so it's fine. And then that's what we tell.
Yeah, it's like steroids in the NFL.
So if everybody's doing it, then it's like
an even playing field.
Yeah, you're not going to be the one nerd that's like, wait a minute, this place isn't good. You're like, oh, you're going to ruin it for the rest of us, nerd.
So obviously we jest, but that's what? Do you have to do that?
Yeah. So I don't lie. First of all, I'm very clear. I'm very clear with my destinations that I say, look, because it is, you said that it was a safety issue or unsafe. That is absolutely 100% an issue for my demographic. So if I go into a hotel and I'm getting paid to stay there and it's not, it's not accessible in as far as being ADA compliant or something, I always tell them, look, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. If I'm going to write about it, I have to say, like, look, this is not working, or this is not, ADA compliant. However, I don't want to call it an out, but, it's a way of making it sound a little bit better, I guess you can say, as being like, oh, this is garbage,
Right.
Though there are a wide variety of disabilities and capabilities. So just because something doesn't work for me as a power chair user whose legs don't work doesn't mean that it wouldn't work for, let's say, somebody in a manual chair who has a lot of upper body strength.
Gotcha.
Or somebody who uses a wheelchair but is able of taking a few steps. So it's easiest for me to say, like, look, this doesn't work for me because of my specific disability, but it might work for somebody who's able to do X, Y, Z.
Gotcha.
So I'm able to soften it up a little bit that way, but I'm very clear with them up front that I tell them, look, if this isn't accessible, I'm going to say it. But they also want the feedback. The destinations definitely want me to tell them, look, this isn't accessible, or this isn't going to work, because how else are they going to fix it or make it better if they don't know what the problem is? So
Correct.
they always welcome. They always welcome that feedback.
Yeah, you got to be honest about it.
Sylvia,
or what are we doing?
I'm curious. I have no idea if this happens, but now that I think about it, like, it just popped in my head. I was like, I bet you this does happen, because there are a lot of crazy people out there. Sylvia, are there people that can walk and are able, but then pretend to be in a wheelchair so they get extra service.
Oh
and
my God, I've been doing it for the last 3 years. I'm in one right now. No, I'm joking.
Bigger rooms, and is that a issue in the wheelchair community where you'll find
God, I hope not.
And do they
but I think I know the answer is going to be yes.
Yeah, like have you heard of it?
Yeah. Well, right here, not stone's throw away. We see that at Disney. Unfortunately, Disney has had to modify their programs for waiting in line for rides and everything several times because of people taking advantage of the process. And unfortunately, it's made it incredibly difficult and challenging for us to take advantage of those kinds of programs.
Yeah,
and you have to register.
Yeah, like if you took your wife and mother-in-law there and then started telling people you were impaired when you were not.
Get a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Listen, that message has spread around in Castleberry and Deltona.
Yeah, exactly.
I've heard that a lot where like, oh, just get a wheelchair, fast pass, just pretend you're mom.
It's unfortunate, man.
And then I'm like, don't say that out loud.
The number one car in Deltona is a wheelchair.
Aren't you embarrassed to tell people?
Yeah, I know. So do you, when you're doing this, have you ever gotten, like, I guess 2 questions. The first one I had is there an area of the world that because you are doing this professionally and this is your thing, that you would just advise people, you're like, this is the hardest area for people that have issues to get around?
Oh, let me guess, Middle East.
Well, I mean, I'm just going to guess.
It depends, actually. I've been to Dubai, and Dubai was actually amazing for accessibility, with the one exception, the sidewalks. Like, they have put in, Dubai didn't even exist 30 years ago, so everything is pretty new. I was able to do a lot of stuff, but they don't have curb cuts on the sidewalk, so just crossing the street is incredibly challenging. And I'm like, you guys spent all this money to make all this stuff accessible, but you can't use the sidewalk, which is crazy. But obviously the lesser developed countries are going to be the most challenging. So Africa is a challenge, South America and Central America are a challenge. Southeast Asia. But then there are other places that were surprising, like China. Like, I went to Shanghai, and Shanghai was incredible. Hong Kong was incredible. Seoul was amazing. So sometimes you'd be really surprised, and there are more and more accessible tour companies in lesser developed countries that are trying to work to make them more accessible for visitors. So things are definitely improving, but those are the most challenging parts of the world.
Sylvia, let's say I lived not in the United States, because there's disability laws that require me to have the
you
ramps.
You want a looser area.
Well, let's just you picture in your mind looser than the United States, whatever that means to you, right? And then say I'm a business owner, I'm cheap, right? I just care about
Okay, that part's true.
And
Checks out.
And then so I want Sylvia to come check out my resort, but I don't really have any ramps of any sort.
Yeah.
But I will hire 2 my goons to stand at the bottom of stairs, and then they'll
just gonna carry you around.
They'll offer to carry you up the stairs.
Wheelchair slaves.
Yeah, no, I mean they're employees.
Well, we won't call them that.
They're like the handyman.
We'll call them WCS.
There's always, as a business owner, you always have local goons around that
are
drug
addicts.
Like EJ's a local goon. Big Tim was a goon. He moved away.
EJ is not a local goon. Oh my God, he's so weak.
And then would that be acceptable for 2 goons to just lift you up and down the stairs and be like, I'll make them stand there 24 hours a day.
But I think the point is to be independent, right, Sylvia? Like, you don't want to rely on goon power.
Right. And that's true. And you don't even have to hire people. Like, for instance, Mexico is one of the most welcoming places as far as the people and what they're willing to do to make you comfortable and make you happy. And there are lots of stories of wheelchair users who have talked about, really kind people at some of these all-inclusive resorts where they will carry you and help you to go down to the beach or up to the stairs or get in wherever. Now, they don't have the same liability issues that we have here. Ultimately, it's up to your personal comfort for what you're willing as far as people touching you or lifting you. Like I love going up in helicopters, right, and doing helicopter tours.
Oh, me too.
And I was in Cape Town, South Africa several years ago, and I wanted to do a helicopter tour of Table Mountain. But, obviously the helicopter isn't accessible, but I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, pick me up and throw me over your shoulder like a sack of potatoes if that's what you got to do to get me in the helicopter.
Yeah.
And I was rolling by, and they're like, I'm like, yeah, I want to do a helicopter ride, but, here I am. They're, oh, no, we got you. They literally just picked me up and put me in the helicopter in Bermuda. They picked me up and put me in a in a golf cart so I could drive around the beach in Horseshoe Bay and see all the cool stuff. And so, yeah, there's always somebody that's willing to help you and help you experience what everybody else does. But it's really up to your personal comfort and if you're okay with somebody touching you and picking you up.
We got this from you last time when you were in here and we talked to you. We got that vibe of like you experience a lot of life because you're not afraid of humans. You know, like so many people now are so afraid to ask their neighbor or just the Joe average for help. Most people will absolutely help you, like without, a doubt.
Yes.
So.
Yes, and that's kind of a self-limiting thing too, because I'm an incredibly independent person. I live by myself, travel alone, go out all the time here locally in Sanford and in Central Florida to do fun stuff. But asking for help is hard because it's a vulnerability.
Sure.
You don't want to appear weak, and that's obviously a personal issue. But everywhere I go, it renews my faith in humanity because other people are genuinely. It makes them feel good to help you, and they want you to have a good time. So yeah, that's a personal hurdle to get over, but people do want to help.
I like refusing the help and then making everybody awkward as I struggle to pull myself up onto the helicopter. And I'm trying to whip my legs.
I got it. You keep saying, I got it.
And then you're like, no. Every time they try to come over to help, I'm like, no, I got this.
Take your seat. Take your seat.
And then I'm screaming. I'm screaming.
But you do it. Yeah. 2 hours later.
Sylvia, where can people find your blog? And then I guess the last question is.
Well, she's voice acting now. I wanted to touch on that just quickly. How did you get into that? Because we're going to have you in again to talk, but how did you get into acting and voice acting?
Well, the acting part, I got a talent agent a few years ago, and I've been auditioning and actually just got my first acting role. I am in episode 7 of The English Teacher on FX.
That's awesome.
It just aired. Yeah, it just aired. It's it's a very, very short part, but yeah, it's my first acting job, and I'm very excited about that.
Oh, that's killer, man.
And so for voice acting, I got into it during the pandemic. I had just got my talent agent. I had just started going into screen acting. I've been on TV a million times for documentary stuff and for cable news, but I had not done the acting part. They said, look, get a little bit more training, and then the pandemic hit. So I took an acting class, and then they had a voice acting seminar. I did that, and I was good at it. And within a few weeks, I was getting paying jobs, and I made a lot of money in a short amount of time just setting up my studio here in the house, and it was all just because of the pandemic.
Oh, somebody in our chat room, this is so cool. Somebody said, oh, my God, I texted my sister a picture of her on The English Teacher last night. That is so dope.
Oh, nice. That is awesome.
That's man, it's always good to see people that we've had in here continue to thrive and succeed. Please don't be a stranger, and sorry again about the email mix-up, but it is always
no worries.
Always a pleasure to talk to you and see what you're up to. I mean, I guess next time we'll talk to you, you'll be in your own movie. You'll be an action adventure star or something?
That'd be great.
Yeah.
And until then, you can find me on my blog at spintheglobe.net, and you can find me on Instagram under spintheglobe or Sylvia_Longmire.
There you go, Sylvia Longmire, spintheglobe.net. Sylvia, thank you so much. We appreciate the time.
Thank you so much.
We'll talk to you soon. See ya. That was... I don't do enough. When I hear people like that, I'm like, you lazy.
You're so traveling the world in a wheelchair.
Yeah, you're so lazy. You can't even use your legs to work.
Although I do want to just open my truck door at Publix and be like, carry me. Carry me to Publix.
Carry me to the subman.
And see if anybody will do it.
I would do it for you. Do you think anybody would do it? If I opened the door to my car, just sat there and said, help, I need someone. We should do that as we should start doing, look, everybody's doing it now. This podcast thing isn't working out.
Okay.
We're going to start doing really lame TikTok content. I'll just sit I'll dress up like some goofball. I'll dress up like a grandma. I got a wig on. I'm laying in my car. Help, somebody carry me. Or you do the thing. I'll give you $1,000 if you carry me to the subman. And then they do it. You give them $1,000. They spin a wheel. You shave their eyebrows off. I've seen all of these. Supreme Patty, all these guys. They do all that dumb stuff. They're just walking through This is what comedy is now. Walking through a parking lot, you find a homeless man. You're like, hey, we shave your butt hairs for $1,000. The guy's like, oh, yeah, I'll do it.
That's 90s radio. It's all recycled.
Yeah, it's all the same stuff.
All right, we'll be right back. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We're live on YouTube and Twitch. Go check it out, like and subscribe. Just search at Tom and Dan Live.
And we have our BDM only party this Saturday. It's kind of like an Oktoberfest themed party. It's in Sanford. If you're a BDM, you got the invite, you'll know. But we hope to see a lot of you.
We'll see you all at Lee's Famous Fried Chicken.
So last night, as I'm watching Monday Night Football, and then I'm watching Damar Hamlin tackle people hard as hell.
He looks great, like a second life.
It reminds me that I don't know the future, and I don't know it all, and how wrong
the future. That's anybody's guess.
How wrong I was on my theory that Damar Hamlin would never play again because the NFL would never let him be on the field, and something happened to him again after his heart stopped and they had to do compressions on the field.
I'll throw my hat into that ring as well because I always based mine on Yordani Alvarez. He was a player we know in soccer that had a heart arrhythmia, and it ruined his career basically because he was a liability to teams that signed him. Okay, So, based on that, I'd be like, well, who would want to sign the guy that died?
Now,
it makes sense to me.
That was because a doctor said this problem that he has is a heart problem that could come up again.
Yeah, that will continue.
And then in the Damar Hamlin case,
anomaly.
The doctors said that this was an anomaly that happened because of an impact.
Yeah.
There's a 1 in a million.
That is a huge difference.
And the chances of it happening again is 1 in a million or whatever the hell that is. And then,
so based on that, you should have gone the other way. Aren't you a man of numbers and science?
Well, I didn't think the NFL even if the science said that,
touch it.
They were just like, yeah, but we'll just pay them off to stay off the field because we don't want the people. Because I'm
talking about the league that welcomed Watson back. You know what I mean? They'll do anything.
I don't think they want Watson. Stinky old Browns.
Nobody wants Watson. Oh, no, the stinky old Browns. I love the Browns. The Browns single-handedly saved the Falcons from signing him. 100% they did.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying they're stinky because they made the worst decision ever made.
Terrible.
Could you imagine they're like, okay, we're going to...
What's the hole on that? What's the money hole on that?
The $200 million?
No, when it's all said and done, it's going to be I want to know the exact. I want to the cent.
They gave him over $200 million guaranteed, and when they say guaranteed, that's the only part of the contract that matters. Is
that like a switch?
That means that money they put in some escrow account or whatever it is, and then that is that person's money. As soon as they sign the contract, that person is going to receive $200 million, no matter what happens. Now, I guess there are stipulations. I thought they were and I still talk about conspiracy theorists. I still believe that because they started floating around another possible lawsuit.
Yeah.
And
that was 4 weeks ago. I remember that.
In his contract, it does state that if there's any other more, then they can get.
If you do a one more, sure.
Or if there's one that you're not telling us about. Now,
and they know there's tons of them.
Well, okay.
You think they had one loaded?
Well, this is a lot of money, and when
they knew of one, they were already keeping it
and
aside.
They took aside,
and then they said, "Hey, we're gonna give him the old. If you have one more, but we got one more, just in case he starts s-ing the bed.
They will bring it back. Yes. Okay, if that happens,
hate it when you tell me dumb things and then I hear them and I go, "Oh, I like that. I like that."
Well,
one.
here's the thing.
That's not that dumb.
That's smart business.
Oh yeah.
For them, it could save them $80 million.
That's the Gruden, isn't it? When you release the tapes.
You have some emails. You're like, well, I wonder if we should release this or not.
Release the emails. We want him gone.
Yeah. It depends on whether we want this person employed for us or not. So, although sometimes things maybe randomly happen that I don't account. I think everything's kind of planned, and sometimes maybe it's just it is random. But when there's that much money, I feel like there's so many people involved and smart people like lawyers and managers and they're just when you're in the 100 millions, I'm like, I don't think anybody just flippantly messes 100 million. It's that's a lot of money.
We say that a lot
to even billionaires.
And sometimes I think maybe it's not that it would have been fine had you had one person in charge. Does that make sense? But it's not one person. It's so many different people with a little bit of influence that it gets all messed up.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't. I don't know. I don't know what to answer you there.
So anyway, back to Damar Hamlin.
Yes.
He is
making you sad every Monday
hard ass tackles, and
looks great
every time he does it. I do. Even me, who believes in math and science, and then the scientists and the doctor said it was an anomaly and it's not going to happen again. every hard hit, I'm like, oh.
But how does he tell himself that? That's what I would be interested in. It goes back to kind of like
I think
Simone
it's
Biles.
instinctual to him, yeah.
Well, like Simone Biles. Remember when she got the spins or the spinnies or whatever they call them, and she wasn't able to do any of her tricks, or any of her moves.
Yeah.
And when I was watching the documentary, like, it doesn't seem like there is a right or like a rhyme or reason to getting out of that. Like, so how does DeMar as a competitor, like, what does he have to do as an athlete to get back out there and know that he's giving 100%?
I think that he's done it his whole life, and so
it's like my hips when I run. I haven't given 100%. I can't. I'm too afraid because I hurt too bad.
Yeah. But you're afraid of everything.
I am afraid of everything. I'm afraid of my own shadow.
DeMar Hamlin died on field,
Yeah.
and then he would have played the next week, by the way. If like he was probably like, I can play now. Like my heart stopping and then you restarting it,
no big
did
deal.
not affect me long term at all. It's kind of
it's a nothing. Actually, just made him famous.
Here's the thing. My other, listen, take my predictions for what they are.
Oh, they do.
Obviously, I was wrong about DeMar Hamlin, but
is this a new one? This is the new one. So go the opposite of this.
Well, just like DeMar Hamlin, if a doctor says you're fine to play, this is an anomaly. You have no, you're fine. You took the Tua thing. Tua's coming back after this week. Did
people really think he wasn't going to come back?
People, they're writing him off as if like Tua's going to come back and he's going to be exactly the same as he was before. He doesn't have some ACL tear that he's got to work through or some Achilles.
No, he's just been sitting out.
Yeah, he got a concussion. The effects maybe lasted 3 days. They're done now. I mean, this has been 4 weeks. They've been done for 3 weeks.
He could have played 5 days out.
Yeah. These players used to play same game with the effects of a concussion. Not that bad.
You think he'll get another one though? Is he just prone to it? Is he just like a easily concussed man?
It did look when he ran into Hamlin. He just ran into his chest and then crinkle fingers.
Or maybe Hamlin got powers from dying. Has anybody investigated like what if DeMar Hamlin died, went to heaven, and gained some sort of super strength for football? Right? That'd be a good-ass movie. That'd be really good. You want to do a couple voicemails?
Yeah.
I got a really, right off the bat, the gentleman that made the furniture in here, he's our BDM death metal furniture man.
Okay.
He left us a voicemail, and it's jarring. It is a jarring voicemail. But he thinks he can help your sons with the warts. You said that they've been getting some warts?
Yeah.
He left a voicemail.
What's up, guys? Drew. You're a furniture guy? You guys haven't given me a nickname.
Death metal furniture man.
Yeah.
Metal furniture.
Anyway, you guys were talking about warts on the BDM show, and I remember I got them too when I was young, like Tom's kids. I was probably about the same age. I did the thing. I went to the doctor, got them frozen off, all this shit. They never went away. But I went on vacation when I was a kid, and I just went into a hot tub and then toenail clippers for 2 days straight. Hot tub, toenail clippers. Fucking got them right off. Stop wasting your money on the goddamn freezing. Be good.
That is disgusting.
It is, but okay, now hold on.
Why'd you go into the hot tub?
To soften the skin. When I got the seed
And then
warts
you
on my...
clipped your warts
and
off?
I clipped my warts off, too. I did.
In the hot tub?
Not in the hot tub. I'm not an animal.
At Howard Johnson?
At the Howard Johnsons. I was at a Holiday Inn in Jacksonville Beach, Florida, with my family. And for 2 days straight, I just soaked my hands in the hot tub and clipped my warts in there.
Listen, you know that I, in some circles, would be considered a disgusting animal in the way I live my life, right? Don't wash my legs.
I think both of us.
Yeah, we both will
We have different things.
We'll eat anything off the floor.
Oh, my God, I'll eat anything.
Like, nothing bothers us, grosses us out.
No,
you know what I'm saying? We're not babies when it comes to food or like...
Like, if somebody pukes on me, I'll be like, what are you doing? Like, I'm not going to act like a baby.
I'll stand at the urinal at a sporting event and let the sprinkles hit my bare feet and sandals. I don't care.
It's a badge of honor to me.
Stare forward.
You know what I call that when I do that? It's a tour of duty. It's like flying a helicopter in the Vietnam jungle.
So I'm not easily disgusted or weirded out or grossed out by anything, right? But when it comes to public hot tubs, I'm sitting in there
But don't you pick your nails and throw them behind the couch? I do that.
Well, everybody is disgusting.
I do that.
This
I pick
guy,
my nails. I throw them behind the couch.
Death Metal Furniture Drew is clipping his warts off in
No. As a child, he did. Not now.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying
As a child.
Yeah, but guess what? Other warty children are doing the same thing in hot tubs, and they got disgusting butts, and they're just disgusting, and they're sitting in. Okay, I don't want to. Okay.
What are you gonna say? You have seed warts. I had seed warts. Yeah, Robert had seed warts. Dula Peep. The warts are probably viral. Get a topical med. What are you? You're on the fence about sharing something. Don't do it. Don't do it. If you're on the fence, then don't do it.
I'm gonna do it.
Okay. All right.
There were. Okay, I'm not even gonna say who. That's how I'll do it.
All right.
There was a person that went on our cruise.
Was it me?
No, it wasn't you.
Was it the BDM who let his kids pee on the walls of the cruise ship?
No, it wasn't
Because that guy still, I told that story on the live podcast there with him in front of me to shame him, and he didn't know it was him. He still doesn't know it's him, so it was a wasted shot.
There was a person that came on a cruise a while back. This is the last one, and he was so big
EJ.
that he couldn't fit in the shower.
Yeah.
So he decided.
EJ's lost a little weight since then.
He decided to in lieu of a shower, he sat in the hot tub with other BDMs.
It scrubbed his butt?
And that was his shower. And then, I remember me and Crystal saw him sitting there.
Well,
with
was
other
it the
BDMs.
First dunk, or was it the second dunk?
No, well, the foam that was around was like a...
It's like boiling bones, where you get the scum on the top. You ever made a pho? You ever made pho at home? You got to buy beef bones, and you boil the bones to get the broth, and then it gets this, it gets like a sea... Like a sea foam.
Yeah, it was like a sea foam.
It's like sea foam.
But it's like an
scum.
orange.
You got to get that off the top to make your pho.
It was like
you put some snap peas in
I remember it's burned into my head.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
Do you know the people that were in there? I know the people, and I looked down on them too. If you were in the water, you're culpable. You're part of it.
And then it just reminded me what happens in public hot tubs, and I'm just putting it out there because it is there's not enough chlorine.
I mean, what about your hot tub?
Well, mine's not a public hot tub. It's just me.
I understand, but there's but he leaves and it's indoors. I mean, how do you get that in toys? There's action figures in there.
It's just because
there's cheese stick wrappers. Like, how many Sargento cheese sticks do your kids eat in the hot tub? Holy smokes!
When you're putting hundreds upon hundreds of people in there, they all have different ailments and warts and butts.
Yeah, it's the butt that bothers you, right?
Well,
you're anti-water park. You have been for a minute.
I'm not anti-water. I don't even get. I'll go there.
You are anti-water park.
I just want to remind everybody how disgusting it is.
Yeah, I don't want to know. I don't normally. You got in my head. Did you know you got in my head? When I go with my family now, I just stick to the sand. You got in my head. You started ruining for me because then I started noticing it. It's like when you buy a new car and then you start noticing that everybody has your car now. I start going to I'm going to Blizzard Beach. I'm looking in there. I'm looking around and everybody's got their hand down their pants scratching. I'm like, why is everyone scratching?
Yeah.
It looked like everybody's soaking their sores.
Well, they all have dry skin and
they're scratching themselves because the chlorine is itching them.
Yeah. They got what's that disease where you have a red skin? It's all dry and what is that? A lot of people psoriasis. They're scratching their psoriasis.
There's psoriasis.
And then the chlorine is stinging it good.
Yeah.
And then it's all
probably feels good though. It feels good.
Flaking off, and then the tsunami hits you right in the mouth from a psoriasis wave.
Oh my God, I can't see. There's a big there's psoriasis flakes all in my eyes.
Let me just ask you a question. If someone is like, let this person flake their psoriasis into a water glass.
You see this commercial?
And then put it in your mouth for swishing around a little bit. How much would that, how much would you pay?
How much?
Would you pay $80 a ticket?
To see it?
No, to do that. Because that's what you're doing.
That's Steve-O.
Yeah. You're doing the Steve-O every time.
Steve-O eat some psoriasis.
But you're paying for it.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, we'll take a break.
Here.
We'll be back.
Welcome back to a corporate time.
So you just brought up something about sometimes our listeners will get things in their algorithm just by listening to a show.
Yeah.
Like it'll pick up what we're talking about, and then all of a sudden you'll see advertisements for it. We see it all the time.
It makes sense. Like if you've got us on in your car and your phone is open and sitting on your lap or next to you, it's just blasting all of our dumb crap into your phone. I mean, that makes sense to me, I guess, on some level.
And we are now all well aware, and this is no conspiracy, that this is happening. Right?
No one's ever confirmed it. I don't think anyone has ever told me, yes, Dan, 100% Apple, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and every social media, entity that you use throughout the day, all of those programs are actively listening to you and then curating active commercials that are tailored to you. No one's ever told me that for certain, but we all believe it.
And because Siri and Google and all those, Alexa, they'll list. I mean, they all the time will falsely go off and be like, "What? Oh, like what?
What? What'd you say? hey, what? What'd you want?" I wish my Siri would do that. I wish that he's sitting there. Hey, what'd you do? What it is, D? I'll be like, what? Sorry? I'm good, man.
But it goes off.
Hey, G.
It's listed, and it tells you, and you have to say, hey, you have to be all right with this constantly searching for.
I've never checked the box that said I'm okay with that.
Well, you have an Alexa in your house, right? It's listening to you.
I have 100.
Yeah. So, and we're getting.
I must have just breezed through a digital box.
Yes, Just click OK.
I'm so excited to talk to my robot that I breeze through the digital box. I click everything and I turn it on.
But
no one has told me definitively,
you're right,
and I'll die on this hill. Not one person, Time Magazine, the Orlando Sentinel, not one person of Power, Escamani, anybody, Buddy, Dyer. Nobody has told me, hey, Dan, these things are listening to all your stuff. Yeah, 100% is happening. No one has told me that.
There's so much evidence that we all have, friends and family, close. We personally, we're like, oh, yeah, this is happening.
For a minute, though,
this is happening.
Minute, we were like, these people are crazy.
Remember
that?
No.
For a hot minute, we're like, these people are crazy.
But then it happened to everybody, and they're like, oh, okay.
And they're like, storm the Capitol. Look.
So how crazy is it? Because I remember, and I think anybody that's middle-aged does.
Oh, old people, this is the last thing they wanted, a microphone in your home?
Well, remember how, mad people were about Google Earth when it first came out, or the fact my pop-up when I showed
he was pretty pissed off
when I showed my pop-up that they have an image of his house from the satellite image.
He put his army fatigues back on. He's going to war.
He was like, what? he's like this is how he's like, and I'm like,
loading the guns.
But he's like, I'm like, this was taken could have been 8 months ago or whatever, and then he's like, what?
Yeah.
He was so mad.
That's my pond.
Yeah.
Those are my ducks. Or what are the things he fed? The cranes?
The sandhill cranes.
Those are my cranes. Yeah. He saw it all. He's like, oh, he's mad.
And he was mad as hell. And then remember how people didn't want their name in the phone book?
Oh, my dad hated that.
Yeah.
My dad hated the fact that his name was online digitally.
Yeah.
He's like, Daniel Reams, that's me. I'm like, oh, God.
So we went from that to, in a short 25 years.
Yeah.
To being okay with listening to every one of our private conversations.
Yeah. and we're also okay with our kids just putting on digital goggles and saying the N-word for hours until they go to sleep. That's what they do. They go into the digital world, they yell curse words, and they yell the N-word at their friends until they fall asleep.
We are all now okay with an Alexa.
That is the epitome of slippery slope, right?
Listening to all our conversations in our homes, private conversations with our loved ones.
Can I tell you something?
And we are fine with it.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to share with you something that I should not share, but you have shared something that you should not share today, and I feel like fair is fair. Yesterday, when I got home, it had been a long day, and I had delivered my daughter to all of her dance 3 different times. She'd done dance. This is what Andrea normally does. I can't do it like Andrea. I'm not built like that. I'm not that good. Mm-hmm. I got it all done, but it was just ragtag. Amateur hour, bush league garbage.
So you wanted to share with me you're not as good as Andrea? I knew
No, I know you know that. But you're talking about technology. What did I drop? I dropped her off, and it was the last time I've dropped her off. So I was like, okay, I got a little dad time here. I poured myself a nice little LaCroix on ice, not anything alcohol, because I'm stepping away from that for a minute. And I sat there, and I said, I know what I'll do. Fun time for boys.
Okay.
So I went to do some fun time for boys. Well, Andrea has installed a new Ring camera in the living room that's motion activated. So I get a.
Oh, it's in
the living room for the dog for Dansby the Westie.
Okay.
So I get a vibration on my phone telling me that it's motion activated, and I go and I look, and there's no way to delete it because my wife is the main person.
Oh, it's in
on
the
account.
cloud.
It's in the cloud, yeah. So there is a short video of me with it out, then realizing what I'm doing, and then putting it away.
Oh, man.
And it's horrifying.
Yeah. That's going to end up on the internet.
It's going to end up on the internet.
Yeah,
I can't delete it. There's no deleting it. Andrea has control
Yeah.
of it. I don't have control of it.
Yeah,
she has control of it. I realized it. You could see me do that move. It was like the Chris D'Elia, where I like realized and then I looked at the camera. I'm like, oh no,
already gone.
Yeah, exactly.
That is
when you look
realize,
at the camera, you're like, I put myself away and I straightened myself up and I looked into the camera. And I was like, this is not good.
Yeah, there's no turning, no flying reverse around the earth.
No,
so
no.
You don't turn back
I tried to fly reverse.
Oh, yeah. Nothing you can do. But it is amazing that we are all now we all accept it as listening to us at all times, and then we really haven't too lazy to do anything about it. Yeah, we're not storming the streets, protesting, saying
I think people said they were going to do that. And then people were like, I'm never using my phone again. And then those people were lying. They're obviously lying.
We're all too lazy for that. We just like, oh, nothing we can do.
Well, you can't. Time marches on, right? Like, try to live without a phone.
Yeah,
you can't.
You could say, I guess you could program it where it doesn't do the voice activated thing, but
I don't even know how to do it. They got me. They got me. I don't know how to turn it off.
Yeah, you just have to. You're like, I'll be dead soon. Doesn't matter. What does all this matter anyway?
You want to do a couple emails?
Yeah.
I got a couple. Let's talk about this one here. Hey everyone there. I don't know if you talked about this, but there is a decades-old tradition in Glenwood Springs, Colorado, where rafters are known for mooning Amtrak trains as they pass by that part of the Colorado River. That part of the Colorado River is also called Moon River. Tom's Necky Butt Boys would get a great kick out of that. Love the show. Did you know that?
So, what is America's stance on the moon?
I'm pro. But I get a lot of pushback because I think most people that are in my circle are kind of indifferent to moon. I'm pro moon, but I think most people that I know are anti-moon because if you moon, you're as bad as any other pedophile, which I disagree with.
You are showing a private part of your body to people
not for sexual
as a joke.
reasons. Not for sexual reasons.
Yeah. But I mean,
this is a joke.
Clarence Thomas put his pubes on.
I have no problem with that. I've said that. I'll dial that in.
Society
I have no
problem.
If a man wants to run through his office just sprinkling his pubes through the air,
I mean, he didn't do that.
Yeah, Clarence
he did that as a joke.
I think we can all assume now, after knowing everything we know about Clarence Thomas now, that the man is legitimately insane. Right?
I mean, that was considered bad in the 80s. You know, how much you can get away with in the 80s?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
I was putting pubes on everybody's coat.
So, your intention doesn't necessarily matter when it comes to private parts and showing them.
Yeah.
So, I don't know where society stands on the moon if it's just
I think
cool.
they're anti it.
Because
I told you how I feel. Like, I'm still pro it, but I'm a 48-year-old man. I think younger people think that you're a pedophile if you moon people.
So let's say I'm on a whitewater raft with me and some other old grizzled dudes.
Well, see, that's weird because old grizzled dudes don't moon.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, let's just
that's a party middle-aged man's game.
So me and my friends are on a raft, right?
Well, John has mooned me, so your example checks out.
Well, in the 90s, we all used to, he used to do lots of genital tricks.
John has mooned me. Joe has mooned me. Turkey Legs mooned me. I've been mooned by more than half of your friends.
They used to, my buddy Joe, they used to call him Buffalo Balls.
I know why.
And he used to play guitar in a band called Foolproof, and they used to chant.
I thought you were going to say the band was called Buffalo Balls too.
When I was a young teen, I used to go to this punk rock bar called Cheers in South Miami, and there would be me and a bunch of other teens, and Joe was also a teen.
Yeah.
He was like 17. And
it's okay if you're all teens.
And they're all, but there was a grown man.
It's okay if you're a grown man.
Yeah, there's grown men. And then the whole audience would chant Buffalo, Buffalo. And then Joe would expose his buffalo balls as a teen boy. And then everybody would cheer. The old man bartender would cheer.
Great job, Buffalo Balls.
This is 1998.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah, so in 98, it was fine. But like in 2024, if me and Buffalo Balls were showing our naked ass at an Amtrak train driving by and there's kids on there, is that a crime at this point?
Back in the day, it wasn't. Right now, I think it would be. I really do.
Is that technically a crime?
Yeah, it's an indecent exposure, I believe.
Okay, so it is.
Yeah,
even your butt.
I
think
it depends on how far people want to push it, right? Like I
because
think
women's breasts would be indecent exposure, right? If they flash their breasts, and there's kids on the train.
And I would argue that a woman's boobs are less gross than a man's ass. So I would give the ladies the pass and not the ass, even in that example. But yeah, I think it's just a different time. I don't think I used to date a girl who loved flashing people because she had good ones, right?
Yeah, that's
not a thing, dude.
No,
if you
not
have
anymore.
good ones, you put a sweater on them.
Yeah, no,
and you
I know.
hide them from the world.
Yeah. At concerts, flashing is not a thing at concerts
Not
anymore,
a thing
right?
anymore.
Yeah, because everybody takes pictures. They don't. No one wants
Ruin
that.
Ruin it for everybody.
Yeah. But that used to, me and Daniel are old enough. I'm gonna tell my boys one day. I'm like, we lived
there when women would show up.
yeah.
What?
Really, publicly, lots.
All the time.
Yeah.
I stood next to a girl who did it. What, Daddy? Really?
Yeah. He's like, what was it like? It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's the time of my life. You'll never have that. You'll never have that.
Yeah.
So go back to your room and fire up those goggles and
yeah.
look
See
at some
digital
boobs. And yell the N-word.
Which you can make an argument is that maybe one step better.
I mean, there's a variety at least.
Digital boobs and the N-word.
Well, I would also argue that sometimes at a concert you're going to see some unfortunate boobs.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you get them, you take all comers.
Yeah. Sometimes they like to show the unfortunates, which is weird.
Oh, unfortunates are you're more likely to get unfortunates than you are to get perfect. That's just facts of life.
Well, statistically.
Most sets I've seen have been, uneven and, you take what you can get and you don't throw a fit.
Yeah. I mean, you're above your head before they flop out. You're pulling them up above your brim of your hat.
My mom would get a flash and then she'd flash and her nipples are still tucked in her waistband. I think that was actually one of my dad's jokes, actually. I think we got to get out of here.
Oh,
it's a great
okay.
place to end.
Right,
respecting my elders and the dead.
Well, again, we got our Beer Fest coming up November 23rd.
Yes, sir.
The Sanford Sofa Races, November 24th. If you want to be in the Sofa Races, there's still some spots if you want to build a couch and actually race. Or the recliner division always has spots open, so you could build a recliner for your business and get free publicity that day.
Absolutely.
A cheap way to get publicity for whatever small business you have.
Let me end with the most American thing that's ever been typed in our chat room. Double Dag says, I remember sitting outside a wing house and some girl drove by and flashed everyone on their way out.
Yeah. That's an old man thing now.
That's not going to happen anymore, man.
Yeah.
What you
the
saw,
random flashing.
That was it. That'll never happen again, That girl probably liked working there.
Yeah.
Never again.
That's like 93, 2003. I think 2000.
Man, 01 was hot. 01 was burning hot.
I think flashing died in 04 was the day flashing died when the old the boob gate shut down the radio.
Hold on a second. I never thought about the fact that flashing actually killed flashing.
Yeah. Like
you're kind of blowing my mind a little bit.
Yeah, like Janet Jackson's boob.
The only thing that can kill a black hole is another black hole, and then they become I don't know.
And that was right about the time social media exploded and stuff. So it was like everybody's like, oh, this nipple is
like we shouldn't be doing this whole flashing thing.
And then it's dead after that.
Try it up.
All right, we will see you tomorrow.